Thank you very much. Good morning, good day to you. As usual, wherever and whenever you listen to this series of knowledge seekers from Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute. As usual, we're back here, another session, and adding to the knowledge of man. It's interesting, the picture which is on the screen. It's what we call a flying carpet, and with a ship on board on top of it, which is very, very coincidental how these things is chosen by Rick and how it's connected to the teaching of today. In this picture, and to our culture of understanding, Persian flying carpet is to fly and take you everywhere. Today's teaching is, how do we make the Creator's carpet? That we can travel the span of the universe. How does it work? And how we can live in the deeper space. When you have, to our understanding, carpet or a flying machine, now we know which travels in the dimension of the gravitational magnetical positioning. It has to find its position in respect to the, what we call gravity of the earth. That's how you fly around like an airplane, but this one is a carpet. Each cell carries a system inside it that finds its position, and in a way, through your thoughts, you control every cell of the carpet, which is that carpet is your own body, your own soul, not the physical carpet. But when you look at this, what we call flying carpet, is in respect to the planet, its center of gravity. You position yourself in how this thing is. Years ago, when I used to be in business, part of one of my companies was involved in literally carpet business. We used to export hundreds of thousands every year across the world through Belgium. This is how my connection started with this country, exporting of rugs and carpets. And being Iranian, it was always a joke that I'm selling flying carpets. In those days, it was the beginning of the what we call LED lights to be put in the carpets, and you could have lights. We used to make it like as you're flying it, and it was very nice things to see at those days. And I always thought there should be a way to be able to achieve this. And later on, we have seen with the what we call reactors that we actually can now. As I said, in the next few weeks and months, as I said, we make Tesla obsolete. In cooperation with one of the leading nations, we start launching the systems which replace today's technological cars without batteries. And in that process, we will see that flying carpets, what you see, flying car, will control by the emotion of the man and the dimension of the souls and interaction. This is why I said in many teachings, in the coming time, accidents will be impossibility, because the soul of you drives the soul of the car, which in interaction is like that magnet on the table interacts with others, and no soul can come to it to be harmed. But this is the limitation of man on earth. What do we do when we use the other side of our, what we call, technological advances? What do we do when, now that we understand the process of the creation of the man, we, at the moment, we go on a very system, very simple, where we go with, prepare to choose a thicker one. It's easier. When we have Mr. Cohen, when we come to understand this part of the equation, which is the nitrogen and oxygen, is to do with matter state dimension of positioning. And this side of the equation, which is part of our amino acid, which is the hydrogen and the carbon, is to do with our soul, with our dimension in the universal condition. How do we fly in the carpet of the Creator? How does it work? Where does it take us? What's the limitation of our own understanding? Where do we go in this process? In the physical dimension, we travel with the cars, we fly. In the soul dimension, the energy, we position ourselves, we connect to that. How this positioning is created? How do we create condition of position in the space? Where does our flying carpet, can it work the way it does on Earth supposedly? We take our jets, we take our jumbo jets, we take our rockets. Once we get to atmosphere, once we get beyond the atmosphere of this planet, rocket technologies are useless. I'm in teaching, please. Then it comes to this point, how do we connect ourselves to the position that we can position ourselves beyond the atmosphere of this planet? What do we do in galaxies? How do we position ourselves in the universe? Where does this and how does this magic carpet comes about? To fly, to be able to position. In a way, how does our soul, during the time of we call the sleep, our dream, navigate itself on the carpet of the universe? Do we really live in the world of the physical dimension, or do we travel on the dimension of the energies of the universe? This brings a new understanding. We have to understand the field's positioning of the universe. We have to do this because in a very near time in the human race history, we have and we become part of the space development. What we see with the rocket technology, with Tesla and the rest, in next 12 months, 18 months will become obsolete. You will understand why in a coming time. Because efforts of the nation has moved to and will move towards the change of the what we call the positioning. How do we do? The rockets have no use. We shake our head and we dance, and we saw one of the world leaders in a, what we call it, victory talk yesterday, that he talks how he stood and watched this thing comes at the light and doesn't lose paints, and how Tesla system sat and landed and blah blah. This is obsolete already in the world of science, and makes one of the world leaders to be excited to see such a thing. It shows the dimension of knowledge has not been transferred. But how do we go in the dimension of the space? On Earth, we become very good. We send a rocket and it gets a man excited to see how he can land on his leg. We travel the space of the universe. I'm sure nobody celebrates it every time to get excited. But how does it work? On Earth, we found the jets and everything else. How do we work in the universe? Nuclear reactors are not the answer into the dimension of the space technology. There is no nuclear uranium, plutonium in the center of no planetary, no star system in the universe, unless uniquely was decided and a field of strength created to be, and still in that position, the field of the material will dominate and dictate how the gravity and how the strength of the fields will sustain that life in that position. So it comes to for us to understand, how do we navigate? How do we sail on this carpet of the Creator across the created life of His, what we call the unicos? We cannot use nuclear reactors, which now is on the edge of our lives, which we think is very advanced, and we fuel them and we push them a little bit. Even on the moon, we are what we call schizophrenic craft, which we still fly all the way there, and when it comes to landing a craft, we push a little button, this jet blows this way and that way to land. We still rely on that schizophrenic life. We haven't learned how to perfectly adjust to land in a position, Magra positioning, in the world of the present science. So how do we change? Do we use Magra positioning for a matter state, and then in the depth of the universe we use the energy system to change one carpet to another, to fly in one system and another? Or we learn the totality of the knowledge, and from the beginning to the end we travel under one system? The problem, we cannot fly in the universe, in the cosmos, and we have this limitation of the man-matter state, is because our knowledge is lacking the fundamental understanding of the creation. We have not understood the world of creation. So we are busy like a child playing that Play-Doh on the table and making rockets, and we think we are very advanced with it. For man to become a passenger of universe, has to understand the work of the energies of the universe. How energy is transferred, how energies create condition. Always said, which is so natural to us, we never understood, and we, all of us do, from the minute we are born, we are conceived in the womb of the mother, the minute we get up, we stand, we walk. Ask yourself a simple question. We use a rocket, we use a plane to get a material, we burn fuel, we use propeller, jets, whatever, from off the ground, and then into air, and then land it, and makes a president very happy. But ask yourself a simple question. I asked this question from myself, age of 8 and 9. And it took me nearly 30 years to understand it, and took me another 10 years to complete the understanding, the comprehension. If you understand what I'm about to say, and if you understand this, you have found the secret to travel the span of the universe. And if you don't understand it, it's just another sound. Because, as I told you, you take from this technology according to your intelligence. No more. You walk. You take that foot off the ground. You go 10 centimeter, 20 centimeter. Some of us become high jumpers. We can fly 5 meters up. We can do whatever. What is the rocket space technology to it? Do we have any rocket propulsion under our feet to blow it up, to bring it in the air and put it down again? Or, as we do it in the science of physics, we call it the muscles contract and the rest of it. But how do the muscle contract? How do they know how much energy to what height? If you're running, if you're jumping, it's become so much part of us that we have forgotten about us, about our motion. That lifting of the first foot off the ground to bring it up to the next step is a positioning of the fields of the universe. But we have become so good at it. Our brain, our structure, our physical body has used it so, we see it so that we never think about it. You cannot, by law of physics, do anything unless you have energy, unless you have a position to be positioned in respect to. If you understand this, we don't use any rocket propulsion, we don't use anything propeller or whatever, but we find the positioning of our foot. You're going up a ladder, whatever, in respect to, and we create that much energy, become so much part of us that we ignore the most important things of the traveling in the span of universe, which is inside us. It's done by energy. It's done by understanding the complete cycle of the life. And if you understand this, you don't need to have another system when it comes to life. It does not need to have a separate system when you're flying on this planet with rocket propulsion, and when you go out using a nuclear, which is useless, and then finding another way to travel the space, and we come to this ridiculous position of the 10,000 light years. We are 100,000 light years away from another galaxy. We are as far in distance from another galaxy as we are from one step to another. A man has to understand this. The amount of time it takes you in the physical dimension using energy fields of your body in coordination with all the parts. The liver has to move, the kidney has to move, the left leg, the arms, the head, all have to be synchronized to move to the next step. It should take you the same time, the same amount to travel the span of the universe to another galaxy. No more, no less. If you understand the process of creation, if you understand the process of the transmutation, if you understand the process of work of the fields of the universe. I was talking to one of the leading scientists in the past few days and trying to explain to him for the first time I could hear, he could understand for the first time as a scientist what I was talking about. We're talking about the energy as a nuclear, as an atom. We're talking about energy as the energy of the atom. How electrons and protons position in respect to each other, how neutrons are positioning in respect to another neutron, how an atom positions itself to the next atom and decides to make a matter, a gas, or whatever. We are talking about that energy, the inner inherent energy of an atom, of any plasma. And then in the physical dimension, we talk about positioning of the whole atom magnetic field in respect to another matter. If we start learning, we start understanding the energy of the man in its essence, where did that energy come that it propelled you to take a step? Which amount of energy used? How did it come? How did your brain create a field for the whole body in an energy level to be ready for it to literally detach itself from the ground into the air and land it again? You're doing better than Elon Musk, if you understand it. You have never thought about it because it's become such a part of our life that we don't think. There is an inner inherent energy within the cell of the body of the man which creates continuous gravitational positioning. You roll in the bed, you take your leg off, you turn in the bed. This is done so naturally for us, which, ask yourself 1 second, where does that energy come? How does it decide where my leg is going to be, my head is going to be? How is decide I can jump? How energy adjusted to it, and why I can jump only 1 meter, the other guy can jump 2 meters? Because I don't carry that. I have not enhanced the inner strength of the energy of the cell, which creates the heat of my body and the rest of it. And the world of science has pushed us in such a wrong direction to understand this. That is, God knows, it's Hercules' job to bring man to understand where the mistake came in. So, if you understand the inner energy of a cell, inner energy of an atom, inner energy of the plasma, which leads to creation of itself, then you don't need the rocket technology for physicality, and you don't need to go to sleep, to dream, to travel the span of the universe. It's all the same system. Does it take you 1,000 light years to take your foot to put it on the other one and then land it? The step of the walk of the universe is exactly the same as the step of the physicality of the man on his foot. Then one uses the physical condition interaction matter strength, and one uses universal of the same thing in the matter strength. On Earth, we use the magnetic field of the Earth to find ourselves, to position ourselves. If you're at a higher altitude, the air is thinner than the rest of it because we never understood the inherited inner field strength of the plasma of the life. Earth creates that in the center, and every cell adjusts itself according to that, according to its position. If you think in a very simple system, the center of Earth creates our gravity. And in the field of it, according to the strength of it, we decide where we're going to be. And in the position where we sit, in the position where we are, in the strength we have in accordance to the position of both, decides if you look Chinese, if you like Indian, and the rest. In a way, we cut through the fields of the planetary system. At the same time, we cut through what we call the inertial weight, and then it creates us. But there's a small misunderstanding about this with a man. Because the composite structure of the fields. You look at these lines in a different way and different manner. Now, let's look at it in a true manner. This line, this central position, is rotating. So the field comes out. It's this way. This is how the field of the Earth rotates. It's not a spiky straight. It's in dynamic. You have to understand the same thing happens in reverse. That's gravitational. This is magnetical. Now you understand. You have the creation field strength, and at any point, you decide in a way of how to, where to sit, to be. Then you have a second parameter in this game, which is the inertia. And that inertia is constant in the position of everything else, in the condition and the position of every element of this process, which makes it another dimension. Then you have another position, which is the inertia of the cell of the man, which sits at this point at different strength, at this point at different strength. While remembering that these fields of the Earth gravitational is continuous. In a way, when the fields are rotating, they create what we call interaction with the inertial matter state plus the dynamic field of the body of the man, which has its own inertia as against the state, which we never understood. So this leads to creation of new dimension and life as us. But in essence, they're all the fields of the Creator. They all are the fields of the existence and conformation and what we call dimension of life in this position. There is an extension to this. Out here, we have our star. Further out here, we have our galaxy. And further out here, we have the what we call the center of the universe. And all these create their own fields. And all this, in a way, if I go back on the extension, you will see, create, interacting with us at all time. And then you can see the game of the creation. At any point, us in feel the strength of the cell of our body sitting on this planet at this position have access to all the fields of the creation. Beyond this, if even you go beyond this point of reference, somewhere, I lost my picture, come back. Somewhere here, we have the fields of the unicos, which interacts with us. As long as it took you to take your step, taking your foot off the ground and put it back down, it takes the same on the field of strength of to be to the center of the universe, another galaxy, another position. This is why you dream instantaneously and you can go across the universe, go somewhere else, because you, in the energy level magnetic field, travel on one of these lines of the creation. Now we see things in the shape of that confirms to us in animal shape, because this is the limitation of the strength of the fields which we have allowed the cells of our brain to work with. If we increase the strength of field of the brain in a way to see the universal dimension energy, then we'll see reality of the animal in this position of universe, not in the shape of man, as I spoke last week. Then you understand, man to be able to become part of universal community, understanding the process of the traveling the span of the universe, has to understand the inherent magnetic fields of the universe within itself. Decide if he travels on the matter state, inertial gravitational point, or universal energy level magnetic field point. And then if you understood this, if you come to understand even part of this, then you come to understand one fundamental position. It's you who decides the strength of your soul. It's you who decides by your conduct, what you eat, what you take, what you give, the strength that this soul will find itself in position of the universe, unicos, or galaxy. This is where your soul will land, in this maze of the work. Then it's you who decides what my soul is going to do and what will be the outcome at that point and position. To be able to do this, we need to teach you about this inherent energy of the carbon and hydrogen, how it works. You went to the shop, you put an apple or a banana to take energy. You go to a fuel station, you put diesel or petrol or gas in your car to run that engine because it's structured that way. How do you fuel your soul? How do you put it across to go in the path of man? You walk on the solid matter, on earth. When it comes to liquid, you find another way of traveling it. The same when you are in a car, you can go a certain way, you come to a cliff, you cannot go because that machine is not made to jump over the space air gap, needs a solid ground. You created a car and then add a wing to it and you made it a plane, and then you jump that cliff, you jump across. Or you put a leg into it and a bit into it and you swim across the water. Now you have to learn how to jump this barrier in the dimension of the field of physicality of the man and the fields of the universe. You come to the physicality, point of death. You have to jump that cliff till you land. Your soul immediately, because it's of the energy of the universe, takes the flight, but the physicality can't come. It's got to that cliff, it's a car. It cannot go. It's got to the ocean, it cannot go. It can only go on a solid ground. But you have added a wing to it, you get it to fly across. You switch it, the motor, you can swim across with the same car. Man has to learn how to switch at that point of cliff. That cliff is called the point of death. That cliff is called the point of transmutation. And this is what the teaching will go that way from now on. How to navigate the span of the universe. Now that you know you are in a schizophrenic life, the physicality of the man, which connects man to this matter state of the physicality, does not matter on earth, moon, or wherever, and dimension of the energies of the cell of the body of the man, which is originated in the dimension of the hydrogen, the essence of the creation. And this is where, from now on, we try to teach you to understand. It's like now, it's in the olden days, if you remember my age, 40 years ago, if we went from London to Manchester, we were lost. We had to buy a map. Go through pages of the map. Where is this street? Hum here. Find all the crackers and roads to get to where you are, and make 1,000 mistakes. Put the window down. Excuse me, where is that road? Where is that road? To get yourself there. In past 20, 30 years, we leaped into GPS. We don't do it. There is a system in the car. Turn left, and it's got a beautiful voice of an actor, a woman or a man, with a funny voice or a nice voice. Next light, turn right. Next road, turn left. You arrive at destination. This is what you have to do with the energy dimension of your life, what we call the soul of the man. And you have to learn how to bring it in to the dimension of physicality of the car, which is the body of the man. How do you navigate the span of the universe? How do you travel? It's like you're taking your foot off the ground and suddenly halfway going to land, you find out, oh, it's mud. I don't want to land in the mud. I push a little bit further and landed at the other side of the patch. You have to be able to do the same thing in the dimension of energy side of your life. And once you learn this, you start understanding you do not need the soul of the man in the dimension of physicality to transmute, to transfer. You use in conjunction in the control of the emotion of the soul and soul of physicality to move your body without walking. You get that, you literally get on that, what we call the Persian carpet. Because you get charge, you take charge over the energy side of your body than the physical side of your body. The emotion tells you, if I put my foot down, I end up in the mud. I don't want to get wet. I just got a brand new shoe. And that through that emotion, you extend it. Another 2 centimeters, or 5 centimeters, you jump across the pond. The same emotion sits with the soul of the man, with the energy side of the universal part of the man. You can use the two. Then you find the amount of time it took you to go from one step to another on this planet. It takes you the same amount of time to take one step from here to another part of the universe. How come you meet the mom who died 20 years ago, has a position somewhere in deep space as a soul of maybe a planet, maybe a beginning of a life somewhere, or as part of another life? And then the minute the husband says, darling, I want coffee, you're back. You do it faster than you put your foot down. How come mom is not sitting next door to you in your brain? Mom's soul past is gone, it's fine position somewhere in the universe. You travel that span of time. In no time to see mom, have a coffee with mom. I was walking on the street with mom. And then you bring the soul of the mom to the land which you know and she knows is the house we used to live in. and then she goes back and you come back instantly because the husband wants a coffee. You do it faster than changing your dimension of the step, jumping over the little pond of water. We know both, but we never been given a chance to understand the working is the same because the material is the same. We have painted different pictures on the canvas of the creation. One is in our head what we want to do, and one we actually paint on the canvas, which is our physicality. But the emotion of what we want to do is always there because it's us and it has to become one. This is what the teaching from now on going to be. We brought you from the ganses to the soul, to understanding your creation. Now we have to show you the roadmap of the creation, the roadmap of the universe. That you know, this is my car. It has the capacity of so much, and I've driven it so much, and this is how far it's going to go. And within that kilometer cannot go. That's my destination. This is what you do with your soul. How much you put in the tank is how much you can go. And because you know from where you are to the house is 200 kilometers, you tank it to get to the house at 200 kilometers. This is how you tank, how you strengthen your soul. So we all know where our soul will gonna land subconsciously in our soul because we tanked it that way through the cycle of life. Then you understand transmutation and transportation is both the same. One uses the energy as the matter state, and one uses the same energy in the universal dimension energy of the plasma. The few milliseconds it takes you to take your foot off the ground, miss the pond and put your foot down, which you do it so automatically, it takes the same time for your soul to find its position and the point of destination. Most of us, before the time of death, know our destination. We know what we've done. We know what we have done. This is the day, they call it the day of judgment. We know we have judged by our work the position of our destination of our soul. And it takes the same time, the same amount of time as you took that step to jump across the little pond not to get wet, for you to correct yourself, to land your soul in a position in the universe. There is no difference. The hypocrisy of 100,000 light years is what was brought into our head by the most stupid scientists in the world, because the light is a limitation of the man understanding of his own physical creation, not the process of the creation of the universe. And if you understand this, you can plan the position of your soul at a point when it gets to the cliff, the end of line, where you have to jump. You call it death. But if you understand the process, you can create the system to jump over and cross the cliff and land again in the dimension of physicality. It's the same as brand new car as you were on the other side of the cliff. So you can remanifest yourself. Out of nowhere, you land and people see, oh, the new car, where did it come from? They're not aware that you have a system that can fly the ocean. You have to understand to fly the ocean of the universe, where your soul has the energy balance to create itself, to manifest itself, and that's its permanent position in life till the next cycle of the creation touches it. Have you created so much energy that you've gone further than out, than to the center? Or have you created the energy which through your conduct has brought you closer to the center? This is the punishment of the life. This is the position of it. It's like you stand in a queue, you're in a class, and you do something wrong, and the teacher says, go to the back of the class. You'll be naughty. So you're further from me to disturb me, you're further from me to enjoy my knowledge which I'm giving to the others and the love I give them. And if you're such a good and you've done good, the teacher says, come to the front door, you have to understand more. Come to the front door. This is come closer to the Creator, because you add to the knowledge of the others. And this is the process of the creation. Now from now on, in most of the teachings, we try to bring the knowledge of how you navigate in the span of the universe, even in the dimension of the soul and physicality and the soul of physicality. Then you understand why I tell you, in effect, next few months and couple of years, Tesla cars are obsolete, electric cars are the joke of the past. Because we teach you, we bring technologies that allows you to understand and to develop. And then you understand it's your choice to sit in the car or you fly with the energy. Then you understand why poor wife, because the husband wants a coffee, has to let go, and it's instantaneous. Yes, darling, I'll make you a coffee now. But second ago, I was across the other side of the earth enjoying a coffee with my mom, where I was interrupted and brought back. I had to jump back. It's the same as that step going from the ground, jumping to the next step. Both of them use no rocket propulsion, but both use the same understanding of the field energy within the internal structure of the plasma of the life. Then you understand how the cycle of life is. Then you have to understand how you can use the same energy. This is why some of you have this problem that when you join us on Fridays, you go in, but you cannot take the physicality because you haven't learned something. It's the same energy. Find out how you lock to go as one, not let the soul go and leave the physicality behind. Understanding of the uniqueness of the same structure is the beauty of life. Once you understand, comprehend the beauty of the creation. In a way, as I always used to say to children, man is like a puppet in a puppet show. He makes image of himself in the box for man to see, but holds the string on the top himself, how he wants to show how he feels in emotion of the brain of the man, in emotion of the soul of the man in that puppet. Both is the same energy. The same energy moves that puppet as thinks the puppet. And the only connection is that string. And that string is the field of the universe connecting us to the creator of the thoughts, the creator of energy, to the puppet at the bed at the bottom, which is just moves because what the creation of the energy of the emotion of the puppeterian has decided to do. It's time to bring the puppet and the puppeterian together and work as one. Then you become the true actor of the stage of your life. As the emotion and the physicality is together. The way ballerina dances on the stage. Man dances with the emotion of inside, with the physicality of outside on the stage of the universe. Elegance and emotion with the thought that both is the same. And if you understand this, If you comprehend how the two is one, man would not live the life of a schizophrenic. Man would live a life as one, but understanding the confirmation of existence of two. This is why I always called what you call schizophrenic the beautiful people, because that is us. We are beautiful. We are not schizophrenic, because we have never realized we have a dimension of the soul and we have a dimension of physicality both in one. If you go back to my teachings and my conferences, I always spoke about the physicality of the man being a leech on the soul of the man. Because man never understood that inside that leech, that soul decides how the leech moves. So in a way, the soul decides that condition of the physicality manifesting itself. And if you understand this, by changing the strength of the soul, you change the color of your eye, you change the color of the skin, you change your behavior, you change the amount of fields you receive and you give. Then it comes to, does the race, color and religion matters, as is all one? And then when you mature to that point, you become the passenger of the universe. Then you have to learn how to change the field energy that dictates to you where in the universe you shall go. In the coming time teachings, I'll show you how the mesh of the universe is traveled. The way you have the roads on the physical planetary system of Earth, there is the same structure in the universe. You have to understand how to navigate these roads, how to navigate these meshes, how to understand a three-dimensional structure of the creation and the created. Then I have taken you in a trip of the lifetime of the universe. Today's teaching was to open your eyes to see how you are connected and what is within you to understand. In the coming weeks, I open the map of the universe for you. Then you'll be on that Persian carpet, which becomes the carpet of the Creator. You can go anywhere. As long as you travel on the energy fields of your physicality and the soul, and not on the dimension of physicality of your soul, which is you, that puppet. If you understand this, and then you go back to understand the very first things we taught you about the Ganses. Field positioning. Read book number 3 if you have it before the next few sessions, because in one of the pictures where I show the gases, I put one word. Ganses never mix. Energy fields of different strength can never mix unless they receive the energy or give energy to match up. This is why you put a jar of gas behind a window. Today is orange, next week is black, the week after it's become green. It gives energy and takes energy from its environment. Do a test if you want to understand how your soul travels and how you're connected in your own homes. Make GANs, anything, copper, because you see the green. Divide it in 2 halves, equal jars, equal amount. Shake it well, that there is no, what we call different density. Put one in the bathroom by the window. Put one in the kitchen by window. If you got another third one, put it in the bedroom by your bed, and put one somewhere that it sees no light. Weekly take a picture and observe the color. You find out what happened with the color to the emotion of you in your bedroom. You go to toilet and you find out what was the emotion of the man when he's on his own. You go in the kitchen, you see what energy you absorb from the universe, and you go where you hid it to see what actually sits in the structure of the physicality of the house. And if you understand the definition and the color spectrum, you can see how your household stays. Watch the height of the GANs in the jar. Watch which sides it pulls up to. Watch how different colors are in it. And then you understand the color spectrum of the soul, the strength of the fields, and not the physicality. As I said once to a friend of mine when I was doing a test in Beijing, making paints for the Chinese army, that they don't depress in high altitude to Tibet when they go into their camps, because they have a lot of psychological problems, soldiers lie high. If I could make a paint that every time a soldier comes in, takes rum, changes his emotion, and makes him man of peace, I have done the job. In a way, the gas color in the room will elevate the soul of the soldier to peaceful soldier. We did this, and now it's used by the Chinese army. It's Keshe Foundation technology in the hand of the military in China. It even changes the environment of the room. When we developed this paint, when we developed it, and number of different combination was given to the military, one night, the man who was appointed on behalf of to develop this technology with Keshe Foundation invited the Chinese military for a dinner. No one knew. If you've been with the Chinese military, they're chain smokers. Security people don't only know how to smoke. About 20 of us in the room. Wang Ling was sitting with me. The gentleman stood after an hour or so sitting in the room having dinner. He said, "Gentlemen, you see the room? All of you smoking. There is no smoke. The room is clear." The room was painted in a specific way, with a specific materials, that even smoke was there, it devoids of conformation of its physicality to show. It's the same with a man. You create a field which in strength voids the showing of your own physicality, even you exist in that. With temperature, we change the steam and the moisture. With the fields, we change the manifestation. Then you understand how you can jump across the universe, which your energy level does, but your physicality is not in the form of it, the same as you take that step across the pond. It's you who decide, I put my foot in the pond and puddle, or I hesitate, give it more energy and cross it and put my foot across the pond. Then you understand. The destiny of the man in the space, in the universe, is in the hand of the man himself. It's you who judges. It's you who decides. And we give you the condition, like on Fridays, to let you do it with the confidence you can come back home. It's you that from now on has to say, I go when the physicality comes with me, the energy of manifestation of the vision or observation moves as the same strength in me. In a way, I dilute my physicality energy within the soul of the man, that the physicality has no manifestation. If you understood the last sentence, you have found the key to the universal transportation and transmutation. Your problem is when you get there, you think where physicality is. You have to increase the soul of yourself into such extent that encompasses and dilutes your physicality within it. That's the key to the transmutation. Not just I went there and I knew I'm back somewhere in the house. This is the process of the creation. This is what the teachings will go for the next few months and weeks. And then in that process you learn more about how you travel the span of the universe. You find out about the mazes of the creation. And one thing never forget, in all the teachings to come, that this picture is your model. If you understood it. Have you increased the field of strength of giving that has increased in a way the dimension of the gravitational point of view that becomes so humble and minute in a strength that can be absorbed, can be attached to the soul of the creator. This is the secret of the elevation of the man in all dimensions of existence in the universe. There is a balance. It's the same as the dimension of the physical energy. Potential difference. According to what you give, what you take, to what position. In the dimension of the energy of the universe, the more you give from the gravitational side to expand, to give more, the less you have. And that weakness in the dimension of the gravitational field of the soul of the man attracts you to the higher energy, which is the soul of the creator. This is why we teach detachment. Because you have to understand what it means. Balance of the energy between the gravitational and magnetical always has to be conserved. So when you give on one direction, you're low on the other. And at that point of low, you're open to the fields of the creator, as is stronger than you. Detachment. I made man in the image of myself, but I never taught man how to be me, to be detached. That it becomes me to be attached to the totality. I hope from today's teaching, you will start learning how to travel the span of the universe, how to navigate, and how for the man who wants to be in the dimension of physicality knows and does not need no nuclear reactor and does not need no propulsion. Man has to learn to travel the span of the universe with the dimension fields of the strength of the universe, of the time, place and position, and detachment. I hope I open your eyes to the new cycle of teaching today. And then, in this process, we try to teach you how to travel the span of the universe, how to go from London to New York, take your children with you, and carry the suitcase that everything is in it when you arrive, because even the sole of your shoe has to agree to come to travel with you, because you take the summer shoe, but the sole knows it's winter, you need the boots, I'm not coming. We go for a break, and we come back and try to answer you. But listen to the teaching of today as we open a new phase of understanding, because we set the ground for it in the past few weeks with making you to understand the two dimensions of your life. The energy side connected to the universal energy, which is your carbon and hydrogen of your amino acid, and your physical life, which for the past 10 years we thought with the nitrogen and oxygen, which is a gravitational field for the gaseous state of this planet. As Muhammad said, bless his name. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. We go with the name of the Creator, with all this beauty. It's you who have to understand the beauty within you, that you can become as beautiful as Him. No other standard, no day of judgment. It's you who judges, but you have to be clear in what you judge. Then you find your position in the realm of creation.